It's time to head south with the Fantha from Down Under.
The Fantha.
Let me up once more.
From Down Under.
Do. Or do not. There is no try.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Here is your host, Adam O'Brien.
G'day folks, how you going? This is Adam O'Brien, the one with the mullet, all the way from Quillen's Camp Centre, the Gold Coast of Australia, here for episode number 38. That's right, 38. It's a long way to come, isn't it? Here of the Fantha from Down Under on Fantha Tracks Radio. It's all your Star Wars news in your single file for the Fantha Trackers, because the Fantha Trackers are everywhere. Tonight, we are doing a two-parter. That's right, a two-parter. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? A two-parter where we're going to be talking to a UK fan by the name of Martin Wood. And Martin is a dear friend of the show and also comes from Birmingham area, of course, around the corner from two pals of ours. We've got a very good friend of his, Dan Hadley, who runs Type 40 on another network. The same network work with Lethal Mullet Podcast. Of course, that's Phantom Podcast Network. And, of course, he knows Carl. That's right. The one, the only, Mooncat Drums. Yeah, you folks know him by now because Mooncat's been on the show before and chatted about drums and music and a little bit of Star Wars all here on the Fantha from Down Under. So, how do you contact Fantha Tracks Radio? How do you find this show and many others like it on that network? How do you subscribe to Fantha Tracks Radio? Well, it's easy. You just dial up www.fanthatracks.com on the old web. That's right, like the old phones of old, the internet is the new platform. And that's where you will find us, Fantha Tracks, Star Wars news in a single file. You'll find this show, the Fantha from Down Under there, giving you all the Star Wars news from Australia. And of course, everything around there when it comes to Star Wars fandom. You can find me, the host, Adam O'Brien, on @TheLethalMullet on both Twitter and Instagram, where I chat about all sorts of Star Wars fandom and fun. We'll catch you out there on the web.
And here's Marty Woo!
All right, mate. It's Woody here on Bamford.
G'day mate, how you going? Welcome to the Fantha from Down Under, brought to you by Fantha Tracks Radio on this here radio, because guess what? You're listening to it. I'm your host, Adam O'Brien, and of course I come with a mullet, and also I come with a guest today who's going to be following us all the way through the worlds of Star Wars and beyond. That's right, he is a champion, and one friend that he has here at Fantha is also a musician like him himself. That's right. Mr. Carl Bayliss knows this gentleman is a champion musician in his own right. And he is, of course, we know him as Woody. Hey, Woody, how you going? Martin Wood, welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm all right then, mate. How you going, pal?
Woody! Mate, I'm doing fantastic.
It's great to speak to you again.
Yeah, you too, mate. Obviously, folks, if you follow my other podcast, over the next 2 weeks, you're going to be seeing Martin a hell of a lot, because we're going to be chatting a bit of Stallone and Rambo and Adrian!
Support me! Yo! Yeah, mate, we had a great time chatting there. That was fantastic stuff.
It's good fun.
I'm harassing you to get back on again.
Oh, yeah. Look, there'll be plenty of that in the future, folks. We've got a real smorgasbord of guests on Lethal Mullet Podcast, and it's only going to grow larger and larger. Now that we're going weekly on Phantom Podcast Network, you can catch that over on fpnet.podbean.com. But we're here to chat some Star Wars. It's an interesting time. We've got a new trailer out, Rise of Skywalker. We have a lot of merch that's just hit the floor, and that's if you can find it, because let's just say distribution by Hasbro has been slack as nails, mate. You guys, honestly, you need a bit of a shuffle, a bit of a change, a bit of a pick you up. Maybe we'll send Rocky after them. What do you reckon?
I reckon so, mate. Raise the game, pal. Come on, get the stuff out on the shelves. Everyone.
We never had this problem in the 1980s. 1980s, you go, hey, Mum, can we go to the toy store and pick up a C3PO? And she, you want to get a 3CPO? You can, no worries. You always stuff that up. A P3CO?
D2R1?
D232? You know, and you go, but the thing is, every time you went out there, everything was on the freaking shelves. So they can't carry on and buy pork chops like they are. because these days they just aren't out there. You know, you get your Black Series, which is what I collect. I'm not into the kiddie stuff. I'm into a little bit more of the, I suppose, higher game, the stuff that is going to look good.
Statuesque, it gives a properly conveys the character, looks like a proper little statue sort of piece. Yeah, nice work.
They need to look the part. I did pick up the Sith Trooper, or as Sean says, the Sith Trooper. Yes, look at the crimson on this bar. Oh yes. Oh, he looks
look at that little
sexy.
crimson devil.
He looks dead sexy. Isn't that? Oh yes, it's crimson. He must work for the fire department. I'm shaking. Shank, yeah. Of course.
I've got spray job on the way in.
Now, one of the traditions that we have here on the Fantha from Down Under is that we go into a little bit of a top 5 questions, a quiz, and of course it covers only the movies. So I'm sure you're going to be more than adept at doing this one, Martin. Are you ready?
Let's find out if I fail or not.
All right, here we go. We'll a bit of a shuffle through. We'll see what we can find. First question. Oh, this is going to be a big one. Oh, are you ready? Which opening crawl begins with Luke Skywalker has returned to his home planet Tatooine?
Empire.
Wrong answer.
Jedi.
It's Jedi. Yeah, that's right. That's the one. Okay, now we're going for 4 out of 5 here. All right.
Damn it.
Okay, all right, here we go. Question number 2. What kind of droid does C-3PO's head get put out on in Attack of the Clones?
Oh, Christ. Those soldier droids, I can't remember what they're called.
I'll take that. Yes, it's a battle droid. Yes, I'll take that. That's a good one. There we are. Okay, we've got 1 out of 5 so far, folks. We're going for question number 3 here. All right, here we go. Or let's do a nice, easy one. Here we go. Whose spirit contacts Yoda to train him to merge with the Force at the end of Revenge of the Sith?
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Perfect. Yes, well done. That is, of course, 2 out of 5, folks. All right, we need another one. So let's go for question number 4. Oh, this is a good one. Which scavenger species sold C-3PO and R2-D2 to Owen Lars in A New Hope?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Houdini!
Houdini! I can't remember the name. That's gone from me.
I'll give you a hot tip. Just add 2 letters to Spielberg's Scary Shark movie.
Jawas.
Yay! There you go. I'm going to give you a half a point for that one because I helped you with that one.
Oh, hell yeah. It's half a point maximum.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Question number 5. So we've got 2.5 out of 5 so far, folks. Let's see if we can get 3 at least. Okay, what is another name for the Sand People of Tatooine?
I know various very rude names for Sarlacc.
Wrong answer. It's Tusken Raiders. And well done, mate. You got at least 2.5 out of 5, so you've got at least halfway.
Well, at least it wasn't completely embarrassing.
That's one. So, folks, tonight we're going to look at a little bit about the merch first up here, and then we're going to head into a little bit of a chat about the Skywalker trailer and look at a bit of the background of the legacy of Star Wars when we're going to look at Star Wars Legends. That's right, the books. And, of course, what we grew up with over the last, probably, 30 years of extended and expanded universe. So, before we get into that, though, here's where you can find this show and any other when it comes to Fantha Tracks Radio. You can catch it at Fantha Tracks Radio on iTunes, Stitcher. You can also find it on Google Play, and of course you can also find it on Spotify, which is probably one of the greatest ones now. There's also another new platform you can check it out on Castro, which is a great and powerful new podcasting application. Go and check it out on my pals over at Force Material here in Australia. Love it. They go, yeah, mate, it's bloody awesome, isn't it, mate? Hey. There you go. So go and check that out. You can also check out Fantha Tracks at fanthatracks.com for all your Star Wars news in a single file. Be sure to check it out because the news is going up there 100% every time. And as a dear friend of the show, of course, Dim, that was on in the last episode, said, you know, it's great to come to a Star Wars page where we don't spoil the films. That's right, we do not spoil the rise of Skywalker. It's a bit refreshing, don't you think?
That's fantastic, mate. You know, everyone really in the fandom, all you want is something to tease you. You want a feel of what's going on. You want teasing about it. You don't want to have the whole thing explained to you beforehand.
No, I mean, what's the point of going to see the movie if you already know? You know?
Yeah, completely.
And that's not to say I don't already know. You know, I've got to a point where, you know, things are being sent, as listeners do, we get quite a bit of fan mail sent to us where the listeners say, hey, look, I found this spoiler, or vice versa. Some of them I can't open because I want that surprise for myself, especially now that we have Palpatine back from the dead.
He's back. Yes, mate, fantastic stuff.
Go for Papa Palpatine.
You know, on the Facebook groups and everything that I'll go on, you tend to go on the ones that avoid it. I mean, Facebook's very good for that, avoiding any spoilers and things. You just want to go and get taste of it, little bits of something to build your excitement on there. But stay away from things just explaining it to you and spoiling it.
It's too much, isn't it? I mean, really, it's, I look at some of these ones that are out there and I'm like, you know, and look, if people want to have the movie spoiled or at least, you know, get into it early, look, no dramas at all. Obviously enjoy what you enjoy about, you know.
Just don't, brothers, keep it to yourself.
100%. And look, it's getting to a point where there's some people out there that are getting a bit animated when it comes to not wanting to see spoilers and they're, you know, getting a bit fiery, getting fired up over it. Like,
yeah, I'll cry about any of that.
Yeah, they have a bit emotional about it, and I feel that. But, you know, the other side's not helping too because they are just blatantly putting spoilers out there without even thinking about it. Especially, they don't realise Facebook shows comments, even when you're flicking through. Like, you know, you might go down a post and it might say, spoiler thread. Well, I hate to tell you, some of those comments pop up, even without hitting it.
Let's face it, probably, you know, Star Wars would probably been the original spoiler film as well, kicking off Empire and everything. What, he's the father? No. Darth Vader did that.
Yeah, it was a little bit like, you look at, what's his name, Homer Simpson in that episode where he walks out of Empire Strikes. Oh, who would have thought that he was, you know, the father of Luke? You know, and then you know, straight up. So it's one of those interesting things, you know, whether you know or not. So folks, a little bit of merch talk. Yes, we've been out in the shops. In the last episode we brought up how obviously we've seen some of the Black Series, starting to see a lot more coming out. But I tell you what, I'm starting to see the conglomerate of what Toys R Us had in Australia has now started to filter back into the shop. So there's a lot of peg warmers out there, and it's not just, a lot of people say the rose figure, and it's always said, you know, which I think is a fair cop in some places. When it comes to, you know, a lot of the figures were left over. But, I don't think that's fair to the character or to, the collections I've been seeing is not at all. I'm seeing a lot of Poe Damerons. I'm seeing a lot of basically it's any in that smaller 3-inch line. The whole
all the ones that thought were going to blow up super huge, but did not quite to the demand that they thought they'd have.
And I don't think it's even because I mean TLJ is divisive, no matter how you cut it down the line. But the merch that came out was not great. It wasn't fantastic. The one thing I did like, I liked the ski speeder that when they used on crate. So I did pick up that, and I picked up a couple of the other vehicles. The A-Wing looked fantastic, so I picked that up. But what I've done with those vehicles is, thanks to a friend of Fantha Podcast Network, a modeler by the name of Davis Grayson, who used to be part of the show, is an absolute painting genius. And he said, hey man, if you ever want to learn how to do battle damage and scarring, I'll show you. And yeah, he literally...
Tell us more.
Oh, it's great. Like, he literally would pick up old masked vehicles or G.I. Joe. And actually, if you check out his Instagram feed, you can actually see some of these done. He's done it for Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, Star Trek he does it quite often with. Mainly G.I. Joe. That's his passion. G.I. Joe is his Star Wars, if you like. And what he does is he battle scars and damages using dry acrylic paints. Beautifully done too. Like, it's, you know, getting those grey washes and starting to scar up things where they've been buzzed by carbon, laser blasts, guns, whatever it is. And when you see it, what he does is he doesn't photo them just in like a white background or something like that. He takes it out into the wild. So whether it's in his garden or goes down to the bush, puts it in the reel. And there's just something about that. It's a little bit like how the Blade Runner concept work was done years ago, where you'd only see just the cars. You actually saw them when he did the spinners and stuff like that. You got to see them in their full in a scene in the city. So you need to see as you would see it in the real world. The same thing was done here.
Mate, I may have come across some of his stuff accidentally online before now, because this sounds very familiar. I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
Really impressed.
Yeah, but you have to check it out. I'll definitely send you a link after the show. But one of the great things about that is that I use that then on the stuff that I've had, whether it's doing those. I've done it recently on a DeLorean that I picked up. And this DeLorean, for example,
mate, that looks fantastic.
It's mad. It's the best of the DeLoreans. I really wanted to pick up though was the second movie's the best. Back to the Future 2 is far better than the first film because it's dealing with the paradox of time. It's a little bit like Karate Kid 2. That's a far better film than the first film. The crushing of Miyagi's full ego to the point where halfway through the film when they had that storm and then Sato finally goes, he's not doing his coward, Miyagi, he's not doing all that crap anymore. He goes, I go save him. And man, if that doesn't make your eyes water in emotion, the fact that these two friends have rekindled their friendship and doing it with heroism is just beyond emotion.
No, mate, I went to the flicks to go see that as well again. Fantastic film for me. It's just like, is that the one where they climb? No, it's the third one, isn't it? Where they're climbing to get the little trees on the hillside.
That's the third one,
yeah. The second one's the one go back to Japan, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They go to Okinawa. Yeah, they go to Okinawa, which they didn't actually. They went to Hawaii. Oahu. It's funny how many times that's been used.
What they called the drum move as well, the equivalent of the crane that they came up for.
Yeah, he goes, Mr. Miyagi, is there a counter punch? Ask drum. It's a great series. Now, of course, folks, you have Cobra Kai out now on YouTube Premium, which is actually free, I think, for part of the first season. And if you haven't seen that, this is just fantastic because you get to see a little bit more of what makes Johnny Lawrence tick. It's told from his story, but as you get through the first season, you get to see Ralph Macchio's character back in action as a sleazy car dealer.
Yeah, they've got season 2 out on YouTube as well. Most of that's out on there now.
That's right. And of course, Kreese is back now. Kreese, who's pretty much the Darth Vader of the series. If they're going to do it properly, they need to bring back Terry Silver from the third one. Of course, Thomas Ian Griffith.
Talking about it. They're talking about it already. Elizabeth Shue and Terry Silver.
Well, Terry Silver's great. Because he's such a smart aleck, and he really is. He's the emperor. There's so many links between Karate Kid and, Star Wars. And in terms of just characters, it's not even the setting. The settings in both really mean nothing. It's about the characters themselves, the dichotomy of a master and apprentice, the dichotomy of friends and family. And, they've even brought the mother back. She's back. Lucille's back in it.
Mate, bring everyone in. Just make it the bigger the better. You're not going to go wrong with it.
No,
people buying.
It's just great. But like you say, the people buying into it because it's the family, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, as you say, that is the Star Wars sort of thing with it. There's a family story being told, and people want to come back to it, and people want to come back to Star Wars, and they want to be told the story. You want to hear it. You want to see what's happening with characters. Mm-hmm. This is going to be the end of the original great story that we all started getting told back in 77.
Oh yeah, definitely. The thing is, you look back on it now, this is the end. Where does it go now after Star Wars, Skywalker Saga? And obviously we've got little hints that obviously we get Obi-Wan series, Mandalorian in the meantime before next round of movies. We've got the Game of Thrones guys coming out with something. Ryan Johnson, will he, won't he do something? We don't know yet. Because even he said
he put himself in the best situation last time.
Yeah, well, considering he said in an interview, I don't know if it's just a mistake, him saying, but he said if we reported it with Fantha tracks, he said, well, if I get to do it, and you don't know what he means by that stage. It's a beautiful film that he made, with no getting around that, and it's certainly turned everything on its head.
No denying it at all. It's spectacular. You look at it and it's just wonderful. It looks absolutely beautiful. It's just unfortunately what he did was divisive. He wanted to start it all over and bring it to a new generation, and he did a little too much cutting back.
He did. Look, to be honest, when that movie came out, it was a crossroads. I didn't know whether I liked it or not liked it. It was that much, it's a challenge, and it's a challenge for the characters in the movies. But, and hindsight's a great thing because you look back on it. I actually really love it now because I looked at, you know, what is it with the Jedi, you know? How do they work? And he's really got down to the corner of or the kernel, if you like, of what Star Wars for the Jedi was. The Jedi's doctrine and dogma is what drove them to basically be so egotistical they didn't see Darth Sidious right under them. A snake came into their nest, basically laid an egg, and that egg was Anakin Skywalker. You know, you're no getting around it. He's the father of Anakin. I mean, there's no getting around it. It's been out there. It's in the Revenge of the Sith script that George had. He was basically going to say, look, you know, I may not be your physical father, but you're not immaculately conceived. Put it that way. You know, that was always there. So
things were organised, and I organised them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's got to come to an end on the other end of that. So you know, when you've got the grandson of Anakin, sort of bringing it full circle to sort of battle that demon, it really, I think, it doesn't matter the outcome. The Last Jedi set that up quite well. I think that's, you know, because he's
Last Jedi would have been brilliant if it wasn't part of the Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. I think people would have bought into it a lot more if it wasn't actually just the middle part of the final Skywalker saga.
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing is, it's harder for older fans because they've got that preconception of they want to see Luke Skywalker go out like Captain Jack Sparrow and swing a sword. But the thing is, it's 20 years too late for that because, you know, Mark Hamill can't do that. I mean, he could certainly go out and swing a sword, but he's not going to do it like Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's just too late. Those films should have been done, if they wanted to be done, you know, maybe 15 years ago. Easily could have been done. Now, what's interesting about that is, I remember years ago, on a site, it would have been about 2010, there was talk of about... No, this is about Harrison Ford, actually. Harrison Ford was rumoured to be pitched in with a whole heap of contracts because he wanted to do another indie. And it was, 2 years after Last Crusade. He just wanted to bang them out. He wanted to start making them like Bond before he got really old. And, of course, nothing's happened since then. But part of the deal was that he would do another Star Wars. And I remember reading that. I'm like, that's not going to happen. As if that's ever going to happen. So, because we hadn't even had the Star Wars Blu-rays at that stage. That's how far back that goes. It goes that far back. That's right. Join us for part 2 of the chat on the next episode number 39 of the show on next week's Fantha Tracks Radio's The Fantha from Down Under. We'll catch you next time. May the Force be with you.